Mary, welcome to the Scenic podcast. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, me too. This is going to be a great conversation because we are we are I don't know, business pals. We do the same thing. We both
Yeah.
work in branding. So this is going to be really cool. I'm excited. Um
Yeah.
So Mary, so people already know you and I were both in branding, but like, can you briefly walk us through your story, like how you started and how you got where you are today? What were the pivotal crossroads and the big moments in your journey?
Of course. Well, it's funny because I have always been wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was little. When I would
Oh,
sometimes people play house, like
mm.
pretend house.
Yeah.
I used to be like pretend business.
Oh, yeah, like office business or like shop
Yeah, like
business.
office business. Like I had offices and like different businesses. It was really funny when I was little. And so it was always in me. And throughout my 20s, I experimented in different things. I had a jewelry line. I did some photography. I every time I was at a family party, I had a new business. I for years I felt like the joke of the family because I was like, oh, I'm gonna see my cousins and they're gonna
Okay,
be
but they're not related. So you're not like not connected. Like you're not you didn't like had a bit you gained a new business idea at family meetings, but you were okay.
yeah.
It's like, oh, that's quite an
Every
interesting
time,
family if you would come up with new ideas while you're at a family meeting.
no. Every time I saw my family, like, big reunion, like
Yeah,
once
yeah,
a year or
yeah.
something,
Hey
they'd be like,
Mary,
what
what are
are
you
you
doing?
doing?
Well,
Yeah, I started a business. So,
you get like the eye roll, like okay, Mary is at it again.
again, what are you doing now? I've dabbled in so many things, but
But I mean, that's like that. So I mean, that question never gets old, right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
like I know my parents kind of stopped asking what I do because they're like, I try to explain it, and then they're like, eh? Well, like, well, the branding part is not so difficult, but like the coaching part gets a bit more tricky. And now they're like,
yeah.
that podcast, like, well, I just talk to people. Well, and I told them it's kind of like a radio host, and that's what they're getting that. So I'm like, okay,
That makes total sense. My parents don't
okay,
even know I have a podcast.
yeah, like I don't know. They don't listen to it, but like also because English is not their native language, but like I don't know. I I don't know. I don't have the impression any of those topics would resonate with my parents. But that's another episode.
Yeah, definitely. So I was dabbling in all these different businesses, and
Hmm.
finally, I remember it was with my best friend. We were like, okay, we don't want to work corporate, and we want to be business owners. Like, let's do something like really cool. Like, let's really get serious and do something. So
Yeah.
her and I started off as event planners, and it was
Oh.
really, really fun, but
Mm,
also very stressful. And they
yes,
say when you're
events.
an entrepreneur, you have to like love it like 100%. And I was like 98% there. And I was like, there's that 2% that's missing. And it's killing me because I can't get through these hurdles that are coming up or, these moments. Like, I love it, but like, I'm like, at any time I can like quit or like, I felt like I wanted to. And I was like, that's not fair to her. And
Yeah.
so I ended up leaving that business and she continued and we're still friends and it was such a heartbreaking moment at the time, but it all worked out so
Mm.
well and she's thriving in her business. She's an amazing event planner. And so I kind of branched off on my own. The part that I liked about event planning was like the creativity part, the
Hmm.
design part,
It
which
kind of
is
like all
all
comes
what I do
together.
now. Yeah, and I told myself, okay, I was like, well, maybe I'll start like freelance graphic designing. And I was like, I could work with event planners, like several of them. But then, yeah, that didn't really go that way. I eventually just got into web design and branding, and I fell in love with it. And I was like 100% in it. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is right. This feels good. And so I'm really grateful to say
Yeah.
I'm over 6 years in business now. So yeah, it's been
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. The first 3 years were really hard.
Well, I don't know. Can you even call yourself entrepreneur if the first 2 years in business haven't been a shit show? Like,
Yeah.
seriously, can you? Like, I no, sorry. That's kind of like a badge of honor you gotta earn. Like, you gotta go through like the valley of despair within the first 2 years. Otherwise, it's like, eh.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah,
Like,
so go ahead.
how how did it like feel? So was it just always like the knowing that with the event business that just something was off and it like you couldn't like contain the energy that was needed or like the stamina, or how did it show up?
Yeah, like I loved a lot of it, but there was
Mm.
parts where like it could also be really stressful. We had really high-end clientele, so there's a lot of money involved, there's a lot of
Mm-mm.
negotiating. And it didn't feel right for me. I was like I'd be in these stressful situations and I'd be like, I don't want to be in this. Like, can I just go
Mm.
back to like choosing the colors of the party?
I know the fun parts.
And she was really good at that. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like, we had these ideas and I just, again, something fell off and I'm really glad I honored that. And I was like, we're best friends. This could go
Mm.
either really good or, this
The
could also,
breakup. Yeah.
yeah, break us up in
Yeah.
the future. But I think I got off at the right time, got off that train, and like I said, we both did our separate businesses. We grew
Yeah.
our businesses together, and we're still best friends till this day. So it's really awesome. It worked out perfectly.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, because right, as you said, like it could have gone either way well, like, or at least in your mind, you're probably overplaying the she's gonna hate me forever part
Oh yeah,
massively, right? Like,
I was heartbroken, and I was heartbroken for myself. I was heartbroken for her. And I was like, how do I break this up without like losing our friendship? But it all worked out.
how did you move through with that big step in the end? Like, what was kind of like the I don't know, the final feeling or push or whatever that you were like, okay, no, I've got to
Yeah.
do this.
So it was I went to go pick her up that day and I was like, hey, let's go. I was going to her house and I would always go to her house and I would always come in and I was like, no, I'm not gonna come in. I was like, come out. And she's like, where are we going? And I was like, let's just go for a drive. We ended
Oh,
up
that
at a
well,
parking lot.
there's never something good coming after after a sentence like this.
She didn't even know. She was just like, okay. I was like, let's go pick up food or something. So we ended up at a restaurant, but in the parking lot. And then I just kind of tell her, and I was just like, you know what? I still want to be there for you. So, if you need support, I'm here for you. But like, I'm not in this, and I don't want to be a part of this. But I still want to, have our friendship and stuff. And I'm just crying the whole time, and then she's crying.
Poor babe. Oh no, poor soul.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then she was like, okay, okay, I get it. She's like, okay, thanks for letting me know. And yeah, I slowly let that go. Like I was just every time doing less and less and less until I kind of just did my own thing. And then
Mm,
it was just like, okay, I'm too busy. I can't actually design for you anymore. And then so, she grew her own team and, got her other people to
yeah.
help her. So yeah, it all worked out. But yeah, it was a really hard conversation because I hate hard conversations, as does everybody.
Yeah, like I do for sure, but I always blame my Enneagram 7 for this. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad, like I said, I honored myself and I got
Yeah.
through that. And she was really, understanding, and that's really beautiful too. And we've been like, growing our business. It's like, a business is like having a baby, right? I don't have children yet, but a lot of people compare it to that. And I'm like, it's like we raise our children together.
I mean, it's yeah, and I mean for two like I can only like account for the first 2 years of having a child, and like it is a shit show too. Like, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Like, it's just what yeah. So my partner and I we coined a term like good enough parenting, like which is like good enough, and like that's so true for business too. I feel, especially when you're starting
Yeah.
out, right? Like you kind of like have all these ideas, all the bells and whistles and shit, and it's you all what you the only thing you need is to just like the good enough to get going.
Exactly. I am a recovering perfectionist, and for being a perfectionist and a designer is hard.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. I know. I am luckily, since I work in design for Jesus more than 20 years now, I recovered a long time ago where I'm like, nope, no one's gonna notice. If you're gonna change that spacing, Jen, no one cares. So just like whatever.
Exactly. It's good enough. And I don't know how I got there, but I did, and I'm so grateful
Yeah.
because yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm obsessing over like the little spacing. Exactly. And I'm like,
Mm.
I'm gonna send this to the client. They're not gonna notice. Or I'm gonna be like, hey Mary, can we move it to the left? And I'm over here trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
perfectly
But
center
yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know what cured me though, in my case. I had this really bad like luxury packaging, like luxury cosmetic brand client, and they reprinted their like packaging, and we were literally like at the printers, and they're like, oh, it needs to have 1% more magenta here and one like percentage yellow less there, and we were like color correcting while they were kind of like printing, and it was like, so I'm there, that was like, no, okay, no. Someone get me out of here. So that was bad, but I mean, yeah, not that. I mean, there's something to say for quality, but there's also people who say, well, you can overdo it. Like, what? Tell me, what was the biggest? Like we said before, like the first 3 years were kind of like the value had some value of despair moments. What was the biggest thing you fucked up during those first years?
I would say trying to, so my first 3 years, I took like every course like under the
Yeah.
sun on how to grow business, how to get clients, how
Yeah,
to
that's
this, how
another
to
like
that.
rite of passage you have to go through if you're
Yeah,
an entrepreneur.
I joined coaching programs and everything. And I think my biggest fuck up, or I mean, I'm okay that I went through it, but I'm like, oh, if I could do it again, I would do it differently.
Yeah.
Is trying to find like validation for myself and others, I think is what it was. Like,
Ooh.
yeah, if I would have just looked within or done like the inner work at an earlier stage, I wouldn't have gone through like the shit show or like all the like I hit some low points. And
Yeah.
I think because I would like sign up for a course and I wouldn't complete it, I wouldn't like get the results that other girls were getting or other business owners were getting, and I would be hard on myself for it. I'm like, what? Like I tried the same thing. How come I didn't get 10 100 signups? I only got
Yeah,
10
yeah.
or whatever that looked like. Or like, man, everyone had a really good webinar. Like my webinar was like not that great. And I would be like, it was hard. It was like being in school again, and you just
Oh,
didn't do
yeah.
good. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, and you're getting weird quizzes and tests by online coach gurus and shit.
coaches and
Yeah.
gurus and stuff.
Yeah.
And I did learn some really valuable things. But the thing is, it's like I later on doing like inner work and like learning about myself, I'm like, I'm not even supposed to be on webinars. That's not my thing. And I'm over here like, being really hard on myself for like, messing up a webinar. So, just things like that. I'm like, oh man, if I wish I would have learned about myself a little earlier, or, done a little bit more inner work and like
Yeah.
healed some wounds that I had, from like childhood and things, of not feeling worthy enough, not feeling good enough, or like, all that
Yeah,
perfectionism
those are
and
big.
things like that.
How did those like childhood wounds show up in your business?
Oh man, it was overgiving. I was always overgiving to clients.
Oh, lack of boundaries.
Yes, lack of boundaries,
Mm,
just trying to
mm,
people please my clients. I have some really, really amazing clients. I want to say out of 100, like I've had, I don't know, like maybe 3 bad ones, but
yeah.
like they've been amazing. I love them. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not even gonna go down memory lane, but I'm like, there's times where I was just like overgiving, overgiving,
Mm.
overgiving, and just trying to be likable, and just wanted to grow my business, and like just doing everything I can to make it successful. When in reality, it's like I had to do like inner work and heal some things, and go a different route. It wasn't about learning the latest marketing strategy, like how to
Mm.
do Facebook ads, or how to do Instagram ads, or like how to do webinars, or how to grow my mailing list. It wasn't any of that. I'm not saying none of that works. It
No,
works.
it does. Like, I mean, those are tactics, right? Like they have their place, but I don't know, I sometimes feel like we so often, because it's so easy to focus on apparent lack of skill, that we kind of like always put that to the forefront while we don't want to deal with like the nasty stuff, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
I'd rather learn about Facebook ads than heal my childhood wounds today, right? Like,
Literally. You become obsessed with like, are people signing up for my email list? When in reality, we should be looking. Some of us, I speak for myself. You know,
well, that's the Scenic route, right? Like, there's no blueprint or whatever. Like, it's just, I don't know. We're speaking for we speaking for ourselves. We're telling our stories and what was true. And I'd say for a lot of us, the way forward is the way inward, right?
yeah,
Like, you gotta figure some shit out first. And Jesus, if I'd known before I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2017 like that, it would be so much shit I'd had to deal with. I don't know. I've still become probably an entrepreneur because I don't know. I was always a really bad employee. um or bad in relative terms, but so I don't know. I wasn't quite prepared to deal with so much shit. Like, I don't know. Another childhood trauma. Yay. Whoa. Which one are we dealing with today? Woohoo.
I know. Yeah, I never. So in the beginning, I had like, I don't want to call it. I guess it was trust issues. We'll just give it that label. Like I had a hard time like trusting to bring on a team, like I had
Oh.
tried out
Mm.
like two virtual assistants. One was like not as available as I thought she would be. So I was like, okay, this isn't gonna work out.
Mm-mm.
And then another one didn't really do so well, like in a moment that I really needed her. I'm like, wait, how did you mess that up? Like we went over it. But anyway, but I realized that's something that, somebody in like the first grade, like, she was my friend at the time, but she like messed me over. And then I had these trust issues later in my business. So like
Ooh.
the childhood stuff came up, and I didn't realize that until like, I was deep in a healing session. And I'm like, are
Yeah,
you serious?
wow.
That moment in the first grade, that girl that like stole my stickers, that's why I can't do this.
Fuck her. And I'm not just gonna let this shit go.
Literally, I
Oh,
was like,
fuck.
no
Yeah.
way. I was like, wow, I didn't realize that's how it shows up for you later. Well, for me, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. And it's what it makes it so interesting. And that's why also we need support in untangling this, right? Because like we sometimes don't know consciously what is connected, right? Like we just have a hunch, maybe,
Yeah,
and we're just like, ah, wait a minute. Yeah, that's interesting. When that's a huge thing, right? Like when you're starting out, especially when you're a solopreneur, and then suddenly you're at a point where like, okay, I gotta bring on people, right? Like whether that's in a freelance role or like a
yeah,
employee role, whatever, right? I mean, so trust is the same thing. It doesn't really change with the label you stick on it. But yeah, I don't know. I I really had to, it resonates so deeply with me. Like I really had to ask myself, okay, am I just having really high expectations of the role I'm looking to fill? Or is it my trust, or is it something else like trust issues or whatever, or
mhm,
perfectionism on my part, or like um so kind of like and for me, it wasn't really trust issues per se, but it was like due to my childhood trauma. I had kind of like this, and I still have it to some degree. Um, like the notion of I have to get this done by myself. Like
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
I cannot more sense of rely on anybody else to get me out of there. I have to get it done myself. Um, and that, interestingly enough, while we're talking about old connections and things, that I could trace that back to like my very first experience. Like I went into NICU when I was born. And I kind of had that note, well, I have to get out of here because there is no one here and I have to get out of this box. And it's
Yeah.
just me. I have to get myself out of it. Right. I have to get better.
Wow, yeah. And you
So
were a baby. You were a newborn.
yeah. I was like a couple hours old and I had
Yeah.
like yellow fever and like water in my lungs and stuff. So like just
Oh,
like,
no.
and I mean, it wasn't for so long, but I don't know. That was kind of like the whole thing of I have to get this done by myself. And it was really hard to untangle because like I was like, what is it? Like I worked with teams before. I don't know, right? It's really interesting to untangle and I don't know. I don't want to say like yeah, interesting is probably the right word. It's not really pleasant, but it's
Yeah.
healing for sure.
I think, getting the awareness of what, may be holding us back is huge. And that there's people
Mm,
out there, that are willing to help others get through that. So seeking
yeah.
support. This is not like I was very much like, I'm going to do this journey alone. I'm a solopreneur. I used to hang that flag so high and
Mhm.
proud and be like, I just get to do everything by myself. Dumbest thing in the world. But what I realized is like it takes a village.
Yes.
Like I
Yes.
have coaches, I have mentors,
Yes.
I have a team now. I have some amazing assistants that I trust, and they're so awesome.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, true,
and
right? Like
yeah,
it's
like I couldn't get here alone. It takes a village. There's that meme or that quote that goes around online, like we have the same hours as Beyonce in a day. And I'm like, yeah, but she
yeah.
has a village, people.
Yeah. She has like a whole fucking city.
Literally.
Yeah, this mm, yeah, I really hate this Pinterest quote. It's really like, yeah, but no. Um
Yeah, exactly. Like, please
you
put the
can
fine print. Like, it
yes,
literally
like you can
has
bend
a
time
city.
as much as you want and you can tomato the shit out of the tomato method, but you're still no.
Yeah, and so for me in the beginning, it was really hard to ask for help. It was really hard to
Mm,
be like, wait, I can do this alone. That's just how I am. I love being alone,
yeah.
kind of like a hermit sometimes, or, but no, I realized I couldn't, if I was going to do it all alone, I was never going to get anywhere. And that was
Yeah.
like my first 3 years, like, fighting that, like, I don't need help. I could do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to self-teach myself this. I'm just going to
Oh, yeah.
DIY it. And then finally surrendering to like, no, I can be helped, but like get
Mm,
that one-on-one support and things like that. That's
mm.
when things started to change for me. So
Wow. Yeah, right. I remember when I was in corporate, like I swore like okay, I never want to have a team. I never have freelancers or employees because just the whole admin side of things, like it was like no, Jesus, dear Lord, please no. Um so, and that was really holding me back. Like that thought of in the first 3 years, like, it really was holding me back because I was like, no, I don't want to I don't want to people work for me. It's too stressful, blah 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 blah. And I was able to switch it to like, hey, how cool is it that that with my business, I get to like pay others and they're sustaining their business and their lives and their families. Like, how cool is that? That is so
yeah,
cool.
that's
Right?
really cool.
Exactly. But it was not just like, oh yeah, it's really cool. It was quite a journey to get there, right? Like I don't know. Corporate, I don't know. We all have our own different ways in which we're kind of like messed up, but it's cool. We're fine. We're good.
As long as we keep taking steps forward, that's all that matters.
Yeah, right? Like steps forward. Like how do you measure steps forward for you personally? Like how do you define success in your business and how do you measure it?
A success of my business, so it looks differently for everybody, right? For some
I
people, it's
know.
monetary. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have money. I love
Oh,
that.
sure.
I welcome
Sure.
it.
Money. Sure. I'm doing all the
But
money
for me,
manifestations there are. I like money. No problem
yeah,
with that.
I love money. I welcome it. Thank you, universe. Um, for me, really successful is like having inner peace and being
Oh,
happy, because
yeah.
there was times in my business where I wasn't happy, or just times in my life where I wasn't happy, But and I see it and I hear it as well, like people with millions of billions of dollars and they're unhappy, and I'm like, I don't live in a 12 bedroom house, but my house is perfect for me.
Yeah, but like, yeah, that's the thing, right? It's you also kind of like have to figure out what you're truly in it for, right? Like
Yeah,
why you
what
got
makes
your skin
you
in the
happy?
game.
Yeah,
Yeah, right? And I
exactly.
mean, I don't know. I know if we would have a bigger place, we would have even more shit we don't need. And then I don't know, that would even overwhelm me even more. And then we would, I don't know. It's just like, ooh, I don't know. I can admire like the big houses and the villas with the pools and whatever, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
absolutely.
I don't know. It's not my definition is more like, ooh, cool. Suitcases like packed in 10 minutes. We're ready to go in 15.
Yeah, exactly. Like that freedom, or that like there was times in my business, and I still do it, where like I would like, be like, oh, when I hit this goal, like I'm gonna buy that really expensive thing I've been eyeing for a while. And I would do it. I would hit the goal and I'd buy the expensive thing and I'd be so excited. Like, oh my God, I reached my goal. I manifested this. How cool. And then a week later, I'm like, I'm not wearing the shoes anymore. They're just sitting in my closet. I got the handbag, but like I haven't even worn it out.
Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah,
unpacked it and it's sitting in my closet. And I'm like, I just want to feel fulfilled. And, for me, being able to be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to sign off and go take a nap right now because my brain is on overload. That's success for me.
napping is always success. It's like, and even more so, Mary, believe me, when you have kids, you die for a nap. Like I would sell all the shit I own for a proper nap. It's
Good to
really
know. I
amazing.
will I will indulge in my naps.
Yes, like celebrate your naps. Like, I don't know, like they're the best fucking thing in the world because they are.
Yeah, no, so for me, success is really like, freedom, inner peace, feeling fulfilled with the little things, because I've gotten the big
Yeah.
things. And yeah, like you say, right? If I had more bedrooms, we'd have more shit.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's not to say, right? Like, I mean, if you, I mean, I also have nice bags. I don't know. I just feel like if you desire something, there should be no shame in spending
Oh no,
something if you want it,
absolutely.
right? Like if just be sure, like I just make sure that they align with what I stand for. So whenever I feel like, oh, this is really like a fancy shit bag I admire, I I said I kind of like made, I don't know, uh, a promise to myself, promise, I don't know, to myself that I'm like all these like really expensive designer things. I only buy secondhand because I don't know. There's just too much shit produced anyway. We can buy so much in good quality it's secondhand, and I just
Yeah.
try to shop more like sustainably. So I'm like, whenever I want to like, and then it's kind of like fun because you go on the hunt for that specific item you desire, right? It's not just available to like put into cart, but you probably, I don't know, you have maybe go to eBay or to a couple of sites and kind of like, ooh, where can I get it? I don't know. So that's
Yeah.
always kind of like my my thing, how I approach it.
No, I love that. That's amazing. I think for me, a lot of times it's like, am I getting this because I really want this, or am I getting this because everybody else has it and I think I need it? That's been like huge for me. And that's like another thing. I don't know where I saw it floating, like, are you, because on Instagram, right, we're constantly being shown things like, and it's like, do you want this like truly in your soul, or you want this because everybody has it? Like, are you just trying to keep up with everybody? And so
Yeah.
for me, I'm just like, I don't want to keep up with anybody except for myself.
Yes, and Instagram does make it hard. I mean, I have to admit, not with all the things, but there are certain things where I'm like an easily influenced Instagram shopper baby. Like
Oh,
it's
for sure.
like it's so bad. Like I don't know. And then especially if once you stare at something for a millisecond too long, the algorithm is gonna push it into your feed aggressively. It's the worst. Like I don't know.
Literally. That is
Yeah.
literally how it
Or
works.
like it's also like for the like why do I want it? And sometimes like especially like tell me if that resonates, but it took me also a lot of healing from this. Like I remember in corporate, I would buy things for a certain persona I thought I would be. Like, oh, these are the shoes if I have like a fancy corner office and C-level meeting shit, right? And like even and I don't know. It was just like, yeah.
No, it totally resonates. I I have to be really like, now that I'm aware of it, I'm really conscious about it. The other day I had a photo shoot and I had gone to the store, got all these really cool outfits. I was like, great. I was like, the day of my photo shoot, I'll see what I keep and then, return
Yeah.
what I don't. I ended up with all these blazers that I would never wear in my life. And I'm like, why the fuck am I putting on blazers? Because everybody else has it on their website?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's so true. Like so sometimes when I do re-runs for clients, I mean, I don't do the shoes per se, but sometimes I would work on a mood board and like they would come to me
Yeah.
with like, oh, what should I wear? And like and yeah, like every so often they would come with like that outfit. I'm like, this is a cool outfit. But like like I have literally never seen you in a blazer or in a white blouse or in heels the entire like last past 6 weeks we've been working together. So like, are you sure? Like, does this like I don't know, does it fit? Does it really fit?
I completely understand. Yeah, no, I unfortunately it was a really quick photo shoot. It was just like a mini shoot because I wanted to test the photographer. I was like, let's see how it works.
Yeah, sure.
Um and yeah, like my first outfit, like, no, I don't resonate. I wore that white blazer that I will never wear in my life again. And, and that day I was just like, what am I doing? Like, who am I trying to be? And I
Yeah.
remember being on Pinterest probably for a few weeks and just, like um searching like entrepreneur branding photo shoot and everyone had a blazer. And that's like, what did Mary go buy? Beautiful blazers. I
Yeah.
don't do any of that. My last photo
Yeah.
shoot, because I redid it, I wore a beautiful kimono. I wear
Oh.
like things that like I like resonate with me. I'm like, I love
Yeah.
flowy things. I love, and I was like, and it's all my past photo shoots, I'd always wear jean jackets. And because I wanted to be like business, but like casual. And I'm like, it makes sense now because that's just how I am. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
But I was trying to be, level up. And I'm like,
Ooh, boss
let's not be
babe
buying a blazer.
hashtag. Oh God. Yeah, like
Yeah.
and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel especially for like branding people and designers, there is like I don't know, a special pressure to kind of like this is how designers dress. Like I mean, when I was working in ad agencies, like all the cool designers that were all dressed in black, and were reading like these weird design magazines and I'm like, I mean, like your style, see what you're doing. Uh, I just look really shit in black, so no, thank you. Right? Or when you look at like the online coaching and like I don't know, when you look at the women or how they portray themselves, you can tell who's like a life coach.
Yeah.
Like the striped t-shirt, like the weird hat, like it's sort of kind of like you gotta have a hat on a branding photo shoot if you're a life coach. Otherwise, sorry, no pass.
Yeah, like who made these rules? I'm not here to follow them anymore.
Yeah, but right at the same time, people are like, oh, okay, I don't know. It's always so interesting, right? Because it's, but at the same time, right? Like you still look at the white blazer brand photography and be like, ooh, maybe, I don't know, if I level up enough, this is how I be.
That's a keyword if, like, it's, you have to just, I don't know. What am I trying to go with this? You just have to stay true to
Illuminate
yourself.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but right, like you have to be really, and that's, I feel is so dangerous when you start out. You have to be really sure of who you are. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
it's so easy to get seduced. Like, as I said, like there are a million coaches and a million courses and a gazillion freebies. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. But you so easily get influenced of doing things, like you said, like the webinar thing, where you're like, I hate fucking doing webinars. So why am I doing webinars?
Yeah, it's like you said, seduce, right? Like it's so easy to get seduced. You see the 100K months or the 10
Ooh,
months
yeah,
or
yeah.
the I made
150K
$1 million
launch.
in 3 months or whatever, which I welcome $1 million whenever it wants to come to my door. But yeah, no, I was chasing that for so long. And it was just all it was doing is actually making me feel less because I couldn't reach those goals. And
Mm.
now I'm like, okay, like I said, I welcome $1 million, but like I'm not gonna kill myself for it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like you're like, well, I know we could all do the 10K. I always call them like the 10K in 10 day people. Like, yeah, sure, we could all do 10, probably we could all do 10K in 10 days, but
Absolutely.
are we willing to? Like, are we really willing to? I would probably be on the second day, I'd probably be like, nah, willpower is gone. Okay, bye now. Like, so I like, what do you feel like? We've talked now about like the seducing of the online world, especially when you're starting out. Like, what do you feel is kind of like the biggest lie or like half truth that gets peddled around in the online biz world? Yes, spill the tea, my friend. Spill the tea. Where this is fun.
Yeah, no, I think yeah, like the 10K in 10 days really drives me nuts because I'm like, one,
Mm,
it is possible, totally. But two, like the people that do accomplish that, one, they might have a team behind them. They
yeah.
might have years of experience above, the person that's just starting.
Yes.
They might be on a completely different level of like inner knowing, confidence, and all those
Or
things,
it's just in, or also or also in a very different season of life, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Like,
don't
don't
know, no
compare day
kids,
one to
grown
someone's fifth
kids.
year.
They're
Yeah.
not caretakers. They, I don't know, they have they're able bodied. Like, I don't know. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
I remember I was in a program and I was really excited to be in this program because I really admired these two coaches that teamed
yeah.
up. And I was
Oh.
like, this is so awesome. I'm going to do their program. I'm going to get to where they're at. And it was like maybe like an 8 week mastermind or something. It
Oh,
was pretty
yeah.
short.
Yeah, cool.
And like I said, I did the program. I met some really amazing people and everything, but like I didn't get the results that I thought I was going to get. And so at the time I was like, okay, another failed program type of thing, right? I was like, oh, whatever, made some cool connections. Well,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
worth
Yeah.
it.
Was worth
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And then a few years later, I saw one of them post like on Instagram, like share like the things that like got me to where I am today. And she mentioned like all these different healing modalities. And I'm like, girlfriend, when I was masterminding with you, you didn't talk about any of that. It was all strategy. Do this, do that, show up here, show up
I
there.
have such a similar experience. Oh, holy crap. Yeah.
And I'm like, you never mentioned going to therapy. You never mentioned doing this. Like, yeah, I finally learned that one on my own after.
Yeah, thank
But
you
like
for
that
being a
made a
master
difference
for,
for me
yeah.
too. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I really wish you would have shared that, back then, because me with my poor failed results, my like, oh, I didn't make, 20K like
Mm-hmm.
they said I was going to. So
Yeah, and that's the same thing, right? Like it's such a slippery slope, I feel sometimes, right? Like when either like you're follow like when you're not getting the results and you approach these people, like I once had a client who approached one of those bigger online social media people of like, hey, I did everything to the T, I don't have the results, like I don't know what's going, like I'm not, I know you don't promise, but I'm just curious, like where did I do something wrong? And
yeah.
she just like was like, oh, I feel your energy is just not, is just off. You're not in it. Like you're, and then it was kind of like that's the end. And she was like, I was like, uh, okay, so what now? So, like, there's almost kind of like a form of of energy gaslighting, right? When you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, your engine's not in it. Well, then thank you, but can you like, yeah, exactly. With the modalities, right? Like then I don't
Yeah,
know,
like
should maybe, hey, maybe I don't know, color therapy, sound healing works for you too. Like
yeah, exactly. Like you it's very popular to see people like, talk about their mentors and things like that. But like what did you do with that mentor though? Like what did they really teach you, you know?
mm,
You're working with all these other people. Cause I would again these two girls, oh, this one girl, I'd be like, oh my God, like her coach, he's like doing really well, or this and that. But I'm like, what happens there? Like, well, how did I miss it? Like I'm as much a hard worker as she is.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I get that. That's again like, and you're almost like looking for validation in others when it's like it's all within.
Yeah.
Going
It's
back to like what I
sure
said
it's
at the
sure an
beginning.
inside
Yeah.
job. Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
that's like a good kind of like, I don't know, sentence, I don't know, to remember. Like it's really, there will never be the outside validation, right? Like
Yeah.
whatever you're seeking, I don't know, it's gotta come from within.
Exactly. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're always gonna chase the next thing, whether it's like the next course, the next partner, the next service, the next whatever, guru, lifestyle coach, whatever, right? It's never gonna be enough, really.
Yeah. And I think another thing too is there was a lot of times where like there was I guess a certain method or a certain service that they're like, "Oh, you should do this. That's how you'll
Mm.
get your 10K in 10 days." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"That's like literally not what I'm doing though." Like that's like the opposite of what I'm doing. But then I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm gonna go try that and like really put in my work." And I'm like, "That's not even in alignment for me. Like, why am I trying to do like a
Yeah.
coaching
Yeah.
program when I love
I
working
kind of,
one-on-one people with people?"
yeah. Like I really developed my like my shit list scanner. So whenever I'm looking through a sales page or something and I see this word, like certain words, I'm like, this is not a sales page for me. Thank you very much. The word is
That
just
is so
gonna go like,
smart.
ugh. Yeah, no. Yeah, like the whole like hustle 10K 10 day hustle, whatever, grind, girl boss, boss babe, mompreneur, like whenever those words pop up, I'm like, yeah, no, gotta go, gotta get out of here.
These are not my people. I'm out. Thank
Not my people. Not my people. Yeah. No. My people are the nap people.
you. That's me. I love
I don't know. I know.
that.
And it's just, I don't know. There's this glorification of hustle that it's just I can't, like I
No.
can't. It's so elitist also, like I can't. Like I'm like, no. Mm.
Yeah,
Hey,
no.
hey Mary, I have one more question before I let you go, and that I'm always curious. What book are you currently reading?
Ooh.
Or which audiobook are you listening to, depending on what's your
Yeah,
style?
no, I'm currently not listening to any.
That's cool
If I'm being
too.
honest. But I will say my favorite book of all time, that got me out of a really, really low place in my
Yeah.
life was You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor.
You were born rich. Okay, cool.
By
Yeah.
Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is my hero. Rest in peace. He's no longer with us.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, he's like the audiobook is like it's like you're listening to cassette from the 80s because it's literally like an 80s seminar. But
Wow.
everything that he talks about back then is still relative today.
That's
And
amazing. Yeah.
it completely like helped me get out of a really low place. And I even gave it to my partner, and it was really cool because it helped him too. I mean, he wasn't in a low place the way I was, but I was like,
Yeah.
listen to this book, let's manifest some really cool things. And we did.
That's amazing. We're gonna link it in the show
Yeah.
notes. So, hey, how can people find you online? Where you hang out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am on Instagram. You can find me under my name. It's Mary Alvizures. Also my last name, Alvizures. There's two underscores at the end, but by the time you're in
We're also gonna
in the
link
middle of
it.
my name, Instagram will show up. And online, I have my website, shareyourmagic.co. You can check me out there and everything I have.
Yeah, and people also can be like, "Hey, I want to hear more of Mary." You have your own podcast too,
I
right?
do have my own podcast. Yes, it's the Share Your Magic.
That is
Yes.
amazing. So, if you want to hear more of Mary, you're also very much invited to listen to Share Your Magic.
Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Hey,
I love
Mary,
that.
thank you so much for this really, really interesting conversation. It was beautiful to talk about our own journeys and our similarities. Thank you so much for being on the Scenic
Yeah,
podcast.
absolutely. I love what you're doing. I love that, we're speaking like the truth. There's no like, ooh, like, throw sparkles all over this and make it like a shiny object and
Yeah.
it does nothing for you. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no.
we're just,
My
yeah.
nickname isn't Sparkles. Yeah, sadly, no. Yeah. No. No, but
No,
at the
but
same
I
time,
love
right?
that.
Like I feel there's this balance between like we're speaking our truth, we're sharing our stories without being like this is the universal truth, like this is the gospel, which
Oh
it is
yeah,
not
no, no,
by
no.
any means.
No. I just hope this inspires anybody that listens in any way.
Yeah,
Take
same.
what serves you, forget what doesn't.
Amen.
Leave it out the window. Like I said, I was like, that was my truth, that was my story. But for anybody listening, yeah, I just want you to thrive and share your magic.
That's beautiful
Yes,
and so on brand. I love it.
I know. Thank you.
Mary, thank you so much for being on the CD Group podcast.
Thank you for having me.